know, we love you. We thank you for the support. But right now, I want to bring somebody to the stage that I want you to hear from that's been doing this work with us for many years, not only in the city and only in the state, but across the country. I'd like to ask Johnny Perez to please come up and speak to you guys about this horrific practice. Woo!
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you to the New York, thank you to the Jails Action Coalition, Freedom Agenda, Fortune Society, Exodus folks coming out, and everybody else that came out, folks from Vocal. My name is Johnny Perez, and I'm the Director of the United States Prison Programs for the National Religious Campaign Against Torture. There, I work with solitary survivors like myself and faith leaders across 20 different states to advance legislation hoping to protect people, just like Mr. Nieves, who just passed away. Now today I also come to you, I come to you not as a professional who's been doing this work, but I also come to you as a parent, right? When I read this story, and it's been a while since I spoke at a rally, when I read this story, I was so moved because I wanted to live in a city where if my daughter, who's 23 years old, who has been in touch with the law before, if she's in a place where she's harming herself, that we do not have correction officers, we're just standing there for 10 minutes just looking.
That ain't right. No good.
And it doesn't matter about why they were there because we also, right, they haven't even been convicted yet. But as a parent, I would hope that the people who we trusted with the care, custody, and control of our community, of our loved ones, do not sit there for 10 whole minutes. You know what I want to ask them? What were you doing for 10 minutes? Checking your text messages? Were y'all laughing at each other? Were y'all pointing? What were you doing as you watched this person's daughter, this person's son died, his family member died, his loved one died, this human being just bleed out? I can't even watch an animal bleed out, let another human being bleed out. And I did 13 years in prison. I've been called a criminal my whole life. But I gotta read stories about somebody sitting there for 10 minutes to watch another human being bleed out.
That's a crime.
I just want to name that, and I want to name that.
That is a crime.
Criminal.
Right? So there's an indictment on the mayor, Mr. Adams, to you.
Come on.
I am ashamed of living in a city that, yes, led by a black man, but yet leads one of the largest penal institutions in the country, or penal colonies, when you look at the history. Shame on you for allowing the culture of violence that we already know happened. Tons of reports already named the culture of pervasive violence on this penal colony called Rikers Island. And you allow these officers to basically do whatever they want. So much so that they have the courage to just stand there and watch Mr. Nieves bleed out for 10 minutes. You know why? Because you don't fear consequences. They get suspended, they get moved, and then we're back here again. We don't need a leader who has public interests elsewhere except in the people. We don't need leaders who lack the political courage to piss people off, because if it means doing the right thing, then man, piss everybody off.
That's right.
Again, this is a man who did not have his day in court. We would never know if he was guilty or innocent, right? And as a parent, as a person who has a mother, a father, I have loved ones, I would hope that these folks will be protected while in there. To the officers, I want you to sit across Mr. Nieves' mother and tell her in her eyes why you failed to act. I wish that on you. Sit across the family members, all of the people that love this man, and you tell them in their eyes, man, you look at them right in their eyes, and you tell them why you didn't move for 10 whole minutes. And to the system that even created this thing to even be possible. Judges, prosecutors. The man had a history knowing of suicidal ideation. We knew that he had mental health concerns. We knew this. It was on paper. He sued the city, for God's sakes. But I still sent him to a place that is not equipped to deal with this person's concerns, who lacks the moral courage to be able to do the right thing. Because you got to be a special type of person to just watch somebody bleed out. And again, I've been to 13 years now in different prisons, never seen that. Never. And I'm finishing up right now, but this, and I hate to say it, but I hope we don't have to come back here next week Because as Ms. Victoria, Dr. B started, we're back here again.
Again.
And I'll say that New York City needs a shakeup. New York City needs a shakeup, y'all. If you are a parent in this city and this does not bother you, you are part of the problem. You need to be out in the streets. You need to hold your legislators accountable, and you let them know that you are not supporting this death chamber. And that if your parents or your son or your loved one gets arrested and they get into a place where they just want to harm themselves so much because the environment is so bad that death is the only release, that somebody says, hey, I'm going to stop you. I pray that does happen to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny.